Hey guys, in this video I will be answering some of your questions, but before I do, I want to talk about some information about Nanotyrannus. So, let's get this started. If you have seen earlier videos that I have made, you might know that I have talked about the debate between Nanotyrannus and T.Rex. Now, Nanotyrannus is supposed to be its own genus, while some people believe that Nanotyrannus is a juvenile T.Rex. Yet because of new evidence, I am able to tell you what seems to be more likely. Now, it would seem that Nanotyrannus is its own genus, but it got mixed up, and the reason for this is a juvenile T.Rex called Jane was mixed up with being Nanotyrannus. Now, the two animals do look similar to the untrained eye, yet they are actually different. They have differences. And the evidence would seem to support now that Jane is actually a young Tyrannosaurus, yet Nanotyrannus would seem to suggest that it was actually its own genus. And not just that, it would seem that there is evidence to support Nanotyrannus being an adult, yet this is far smaller than T.Rex. So the evidence we're getting about these two different specimens and more specimens that are being found within Nanotyrannus and small fragments from young tyrannosaurs seem to suggest that we have two different types of animals, one being a young T.Rex and one being its own genus. And if you've seen my videos before where I talk about dinosaur growth stages, I'm pretty sure some people were convinced that I was totally against the idea of dinosaur growth stages, and I am not. I was pretty sure, and still am, that young T-Rexes would actually look a lot different to the adults, and that would seem to be the case. However, I was not convinced with Nanotyrannus being a young T-Rex, and it would seem that that evidence is showing now. So if you thought that Nanotyrannus was its own genus, or if you thought that Jane was a young T-Rex, it would seem that you were right. It's just these two animals got mixed up. However, the debate is far from over, as fossils suspected to being from young T-Rexes, small T-Rex teeth that look exactly like the adults, yet just being smaller, have been found. Yet Jane and Nanotyrannus does not have teeth that are similar to the adults, they're more blade-like. So the debate is far from over. However, we're starting to get some real clear evidence on Nanotyrannus. Hi guys, I hope that was interesting learning more about Nanotyrannus and what young T-Rexes look like. Now, over the past 3 months I have been sent in some questions from people from all over the world, yet because I had plans for other videos I haven't been able to answer any until now. So, let's get this started. So my good friend Dromaeosaurus Jack says, "Hey, you could do one on Epidexipteryx." Sure, I will. Epidexipteryx is a fantastic dinosaur, and I was really happy that it was depicted in Planet Dinosaur. It's a small dinosaur. I mean, if you were able to hold it, it would fit in your hands quite perfectly. Well, maybe not, it would probably try and run away. But it's a very nice dinosaur, and I'm very happy that it was featured in Planet Dinosaur, because all I knew about it was from a book I have from National Geographic, I think. So it was great. It probably had those long fingers to help climb trees, but it's probably plausible to think of it being able to help it catch food with those incredibly long fingers. It's a very weird dinosaur too. If you got to see it, you wouldn't probably think it was a dinosaur, but at the same time you wouldn't think it was a bird either. Well, maybe you would, but it's a very weird dinosaur. It has proto-feathers, yet it has these incredibly long fingers. Very strange, but I would like one as a pet. Okay, now my second question is a lot more personal. It's not really related to paleontology. However, I thought it was important for me to answer this. So it's from Maxterandkiwiking, and they say, "I hate to be rude, but do you have a lateral lips?" Now, I think this is interesting because this is a question that is asking me about my speech, and I think it's very important because in my videos I talk a lot. Now, I don't have a lateral lips. However, I have had problems with trying to speak in the past. So I don't have a lateral lips, but I have had problems with speaking and with my speech over the past few years. And of course, if you do notice that I pronounce things wrong in a video, just tell me. But I don't have a lot of all lips, but sometimes you may notice that I pronounce something a bit iffy. But it doesn't mean that I have massive problems in speaking. So I hope that answers that. Okay, my next question is an email from Craig, and he says, Dear DR, I was wondering if you would make a video about mammals that existed alongside the dinosaurs in the Mesozoic. For instance, were they marsupials? Were they placenta? Which was the largest? And is it true that some fed on dinosaurs? Thanks. That's fine. I've got to admit, I have not studied Mesozoic mammals that well, which is really bad, I think, because the mammals back in the Mesozoic period were actually pretty amazing. Now, it's a bad idea from a lot of people that think that mammals back at the time of dinosaurs were really tiny, mice-like creatures. In fact, there was a great diversity in mammals that they did keep to a smallish side compared to something as big as a Tyrannosaurus Rex, for example. But they actually became very diverse. I mean, from what I've heard, there were animals like beavers, there were flying squirrels, and there were badger-like animals that lived during the dinosaur times. But it's not something I really studied, and I have to admit that, so I'm not really sure. I don't know about mammals that would have eaten dinosaurs, but it's plausible. Even if we haven't found any mammals that would have been able to do that, we might not have found them yet. So it's very possible, but I'm not so sure because it's something I haven't really studied. But hopefully it will be something that I will study in the future. Okay, my next question is from Sandro, and they ask, how and why did typical theropod talons and hands evolve? Now this question was very good because I got many links to this question. Now, I think the reason why there was a reduction in digits in the toes or the feet of theropod dinosaurs is to help them run faster. If you look at a horse, they are basically walking and running on one toe, the hoof. And the reason for that is the less weight you add to the ground as you're walking or running, the less weight you add, so you run a lot quicker. And I think that the dinosaurs, and especially theropod dinosaurs, would have been the same. Believe it or not, if you look at the foot of these dinosaurs, you will realize that they don't actually walk or run on their heels, which is amazing. Thinking of something like T.Rex, which is now being estimated to have been as heavy as 9 tons, something like that is running or walking on its toes. That's incredible. So the reason for the reduction in digits in the feet was probably to help it run. Also for Dromaeosaurus-like dinosaurs, the reason for their claws was probably to help hunt its prey, kill its prey, and also maybe for climbing, as now we're starting to get evidence that some Dromaeosaurs were able to climb trees. But for the hands, I believe that dinosaurs like Tyrannosaurus, they have 4 digits in their hands, while a dinosaur like Allosaurus only has 3 digits. And the more digits a dinosaur has in its hands, the more primitive it is. I'm not so sure why a dinosaur would need to have a reduction in digits in its hands over time from evolution. Maybe it was to help it adapt its lifestyle. But whatever the case, it was helping the animal become a better hunter. If we look at something like T-Rex, they only have 2 fingers in their hands, and that is to help balance and having less weight on one end of the dinosaur compared to the tail end. So maybe the reason a reduction in fingers was actually so these dinosaurs could have much larger skulls. You know, people say that T-Rex has very small arms, but if you actually look at something like Carcharodontosaurus or Allosaurus, their arms may be longer, but they're not actually that dramatically larger than that of T-Rex. You do notice the difference, but they are not massively huge. It's not something like a Spinosaurus. Their arms are supposed to be massive, as we've got fossils from baryonyx. So it would probably be so these dinosaurs could have bigger and maybe even heavier skulls, but it is something that's still being studied as far as I'm aware. Okay, and my last question is from Spinosaurus George, who says, will you be able to shout me out? Okay, Spinosaurus George. Is that good enough? No, I've seen the videos by George, and they're pretty good. So if you have any time on your hands, maybe have a peek at his channel. That is my last question, so I hope you enjoyed this, I hope you liked it. There is something I want to talk about, and it's my videos. I'm wondering whether I want to become more diverse in my videos, where I talk about different topics. An example is, by this time on Monday, it is thought that there will be 7 billion people on the planet. 7 billion people, that's a lot. And I'm just thinking, maybe I should become more diverse in my videos. Now, of course, I do want to be a paleontologist later on, so I won't be completely dropping making videos about dinosaurs, but it is something I've just thought about. So instead of making videos just about paleontology, being able to make videos about other topics in the world. But I thought I would let you guys know and see what you think. Also, I'm hoping to make another video next week about dinosaur drawings, and then after that I don't have any plans for any more videos. So if you want to send in some more questions, that would be great. So I hope you enjoyed it, I hope you liked it, and I hopefully will see you guys later. I'll see you soon.